Agbare voorsitter, die vraag kan gevra word, hoekom ons spesifiek vandag 'n debat het oor plaasmoorde? Want moorde in Suid-Afrika is van so aard dat dit amper 5 keer meer is as die wêreld gemiddeld. As ons gaan kyk in terme van moorde, dan is die wêreld gemiddeld 7 per 100.000 van die bevolking. As ons gaan kyk na Suid-Afrika se moordsyfer, is dit 33 per 100.000 van die bevolking. Maar daar is 'n spesifieke rede hoekom ek die debat aangevra het vir plaasmoorde. En die rede is daarin dat as ons gaan kyk na die moordsyfer op polisielede, dan is die syfer ongeveer 54 per 100.000 van die bevolking. Maar in die geval van boere en plase, dan sien ons, dit styg na 133 per 100.000. Ek kan met ander woorde sê, dit is amper 3 keer gevaarliker om te boer in Suid-Afrika as om 'n polisieman of 'n polisievrou te wees. If you look further, besides the fact that farmers and the farm murder rate is 133 per 100,000, it is the agricultural sector that contributes 6.9% to the GDP. We also know that they employ almost 1 million people in the agricultural sector. Therefore, it is very important. But I also want to say that everything you ate up till today, or what you drank, besides pure water, was a product from the agricultural sector, produced by farmers. And I know, Honourable Chair, that if we talk about statistics, that there are different opinions when we talk about what the real numbers are. I did a study and I looked at the sources, specifically as far as the report on farmer tax of 2003, compiled by the police with different members on that committee. I also looked at the crime statistics of the South African Police Services. So the statistics I'm giving you are the statistics from the police. And according to these statistics, since 1991, there were 2,393 murders on our farms in 14,589 farm attacks. And let I put it up front. There is a perspective of a perception that if we talk about farm murders, we only talk about white people. It's not true. According to research, it shows that about 40% of all victims of farm murders are black people. So if you look at these statistics, I also know that the Honourable Minister for Police will show that there was quite a decrease in farm murders and farm attacks. But what we must also remember is that the farming community had no option but to ensure that they look after their safety themselves. And because of the increased safety measures taken by the farmers, we have a decrease in farm murders. But the fact of the matter is that former President Thabo Mbeki said that when he disbanded the commando system, that he will ensure that there is something in its place to ensure safety in our rural areas. And that was actually the idea of sector policing. But at the moment it does not work properly. According to statistics given at the Police Portfolio Committee, some of the police stations in our rural areas didn't even start with sector policing. About 50% does not fulfill on the minimum requirements for sector policing. I had a call yesterday in Uppington, for instance. You have one vehicle, police vehicle, for 184 farms in that area with 4 police members. It is not as successful as we think, and I appeal that we have to look at this. Honourable Chairperson, it is also been found in the report that if you look at the causes of farm murders, that less than 2% was where the victims of the murderers were known to the criminals. Less than 2%. So I know some people say, but it is because the mistreatment from the farmers. That is a research. It has also shown that about 2% are politically motivated. Now let me say it, Honourable Chair, that if we look at the farm murders, normally it is said, yes, but it is only normal criminality. Now let me read to you some of the cases of farm murders. I say that it is not normal criminality if you look at the Lindley farmers, where Wilming, a 2-year-old toddler, a father and a mother were brutally murdered. When asked by State Prosecutor Jannie Botha on his impressions of Potgieter's body, then Boek, the coroner, said the deceased had been tortured to death. I say it is not normal criminality if you look, for instance, at the Swanepoel family in KwaZulu-Natal, oh no, this was in Bloemfontein, where the investigating officer Kobus Kutsie told the court that the couple were tied to a single bed and tortured for hours. The men took turns to rape Rini while her husband was forced to watch. I say it is not normal criminality if you look, for instance, at the Schutte family at Richmond, KwaZulu-Natal. It says Mrs. Schutte's head was crushed with a heavy object and all 3 victims were set on fire. I say it is not normal criminality if you look at Dan Knight, also from KwaZulu-Natal, where it says that his partner Beth Buchner were attacked in their home by a gang of 5 men. Knight was beaten to death with hammers, while Buchner was forced to watch. I say it is not normal criminality if you look at the recent case of Nikki Simpson, when the perpetrators used a plastic bag where, for instance, they cut her arms, broke her ribs, her knee, and even used an electric drill to drill holes in her feet. That is not normal criminality. I also say it is not normal criminality. For instance, if you look at the farmer murdered near Parijs, where the murderers then actually took out his testicles, boiled them, cooked them, and then ate it. That is the shocking picture and the inconvenient truth of farm murders. And I say again, it is the inconvenient truth of farm murders. And we cannot continue to like this, and therefore I ask a moment of silence for all those peoples murdered on our farms.
Honourable Member, your time is now expired.
Thank you, Chair. At least some have the respect to have a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Next speaker is the Honourable Beekman.